Hi, this is Balinkosi and you're watching Joburg Today.
If you're like most people, you either want to win the lottery or are waiting for luck to shine its rays on you so you can have the perfect partner, the blessed job or career, or start your own successful business. Well, here's a man in studio with me now. His name is Dr. John Demartini. And if you've watched my many interviews with him, you'd appreciate that he has worked for his success and that he is the kind of person who makes things happen. So today we are talking about the science of getting what you want in life. This is the topic of his public evening discussion in Johannesburg on the 5th of June. Welcome. Great to have you back in our amazing city, Johannesburg. Always look forward to our chats. And
Yes.
This is a very interesting topic, John. We've had some awesome conversations, but in the context of this topic, what really stands out for me is what you said, and I hope I get it right, at some time back, that you wanted to make the world your home and every city a room. Okay, you've done that to the point that you travel around the world doing what you love doing, helping people realize their true potential. But it didn't just happen, okay? So how can someone get what they want as you did? Is it truly a science, as you say?
Well, there are certain activities and perceptions and decisions that people make that increase the probability of their achievement. And so I've been gathering that and watching that and observing that and summarizing that the best I can. And when people apply them, they get a result. In most cases, that's what happens. So yes, there is somewhat of a science to it. There's a reproducibility to it. And maybe I can go through a formula
Please.
that I've gleaned that really was partially given to me when I was 17, 18 years old, that I've turned into a formula. It was given to me in piecemeal, but I ended up turning into a formula. And the first thing that a person, if they want to get what they want, is they have to define what it is. You know, some people, I ask them, so what is it you want in life? They go, they've never taken the time. They spent more time planning their vacation or planning a meal than they have on planning their life. And they haven't had foresight to actually define what it is that they really want to create. A lot of people don't even believe they can create the life they want. They're so accustomed to living in the shadows of people and being told what to do, that the idea of actually taking command and actually creating what they really want in life is foreign. So the first thing is actually defining what you really want. I ask people, what is it that you would absolutely love to do in life? What is it you absolutely love to do in life? I want to share a story.
Sure.
This may be off track, I don't know, but I just got to share this story. It's a real story. A lady attended a program that I do, the Breakthrough Experience, which I've done 1,137 times now.
Okay.
And this program, she was sitting in the front row, and I asked her 7 questions. What is it you would absolutely love to do in your life? And she said, I don't know. I said, no, really, what is it? What do you absolutely love to do in life? She says, well, I love spending time with my dog. And then I asked her this next question. Once we defined that, I said, how could you get handsomely and beautifully paid to spend time with your dog? And she goes, I have no idea. How could I get paid to be with my dog? I said, answer the question, hold yourself accountable. How could you get handsomely, beautifully paid, amazingly paid to be with your dog? And she just went blank. It was so foreign to her. And finally she said, well, my dog is really cute. People would probably love to take a picture of it, and maybe I could charge for a picture. This is before the day of the iPhones. And so she started to pursue that. There were 7 questions. Those are the first 2 questions. And that next week, she went to Central Park. She was in New York. She went to Central Park with her dog. And she walked down the avenue where all the trees are, with all the, kind of like the Poetry Avenue, and go up to the fountain right by the boathouse there in New York, Central Park. And a guy came up to her and said, I'd like to get a picture of your dog, your cute dog. He said, well, I'd love to, but there's a fee. It's $5. And she never had the courage to say that, but she said it's $5.
Okay.
And the guy said, that's fair. Gave her $5. So when she walked out of there that night, that afternoon, she said, you know, you paid for your food today, dog. You know, this is great. So she went home and she made this red elastic tube outfit for her dog, and put her dog in this tube, and gave it some sunglasses. Got some sunglasses with a little strap, and taught it how to walk on its hind legs. So when it walked down to that same area the next time, it would then stand up on its legs with a red tube, so more people would want to take a picture. Well, she got $15 the second day. So then she decided to create more elaborate outfits. And she ended up now making really elaborate things that everybody wanted to take a picture of. That's a cute dog. Look at that, it's dressed up like that. She's got an outfit. She got up to $125 walking around with a dog, getting pictures. Well, one day she was doing that, and she was actually now making, the dog was self-sufficient, a little entrepreneur. Well, then when this guy came up to her and said, I think I could use your dog partially in advertising, direct marketing, and a commercial. Well, she signed a deal with him to be the Milk Bone Dog Biscuit commercial, which was $2.2 million. She then got 3 other commercials. She ended up then getting to make him the famous dog in New York.
So he became a brand.
He became
celebrity.
a brand. She ended up going down the Oscars, the Academy Awards, the Globe Awards. I mean, this dog was famous. She ended up with 3 TV shows called Moms and Dogs, 3 series. And about 20-something years, now the dog didn't live but 7 to 8 years. She got another dog that looked the same, got another dog that looked the same. She had 3 generations of the same dog, trained it, redid the thing again, kept it going, and retired with $25 million off this dog.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now, this is an amazing story. And I asked her, what is it you would absolutely love to do? How do you get handsomely, beautifully paid to do? What are the highest priority action to make this happen and on a daily basis? What obstacles might you run into and solve in advance? How do you solve in advance? What worked and what didn't work today towards that objective? How do you do it more effectively and efficiently? And how did, no matter what happened, how's it helping you get there? And she asked those 7 questions repeatedly and took it to a $25 million net retirement. And that dog became a famous dog, a household brand, because she applied a principle that led to an outcome. And I've seen people, now I have people that come in and they may not have dogs to start out, they start with a business. But what is it you'd absolutely love to do that would serve vast numbers of people? How do you get handsomely paid to do it? How do you structure it? Foresight goes farther than hindsight. And planning things in advance and having some sort of a clear idea of what you want to do is very valuable. The planning is about clarification of the vision. That's why you do it.
But I think a lot of people don't really get that. I know I didn't get it at first myself, in terms of how clear you have to get. And once I also started doing the process, I realized that you have the answers within you. But it's actually to, get a pencil out and to actually write it down and to work out what you want and to be very clear about it and to feel it.
Yeah, well, a short pencil is better than a long memory. If you carry all that stuff in your head, you'll be scattered. But if you get really concise and keep refining it and keep building that. I worked with a young boy the other day that started a company impulsively, didn't do any foreplanning, and then end up having a setback in his company. We went back to the drawing board again, and we started thinking of all the things that could go wrong and what do we do to solve them in advance, and we started doing more due diligence. He was alive, he was inspired, and he could see it. The second we are really clear and congruent with what our values are and what we really want in life and get really clear, our executive center comes online and we see it in our mind. And once we see it and we're inspired by it, and we, like you say, have a feeling about it, the hows come about. You figure out how you can do it, and it comes along. And there may be even more efficient ways along the journey. You don't have to follow a plan necessary to the letter. You may find a more efficient plan along the way. Because as you go along, I've been involved in public speaking now 46 years almost. When I first started, it was a cursory plan, but that is refined and polished along the way. But if you don't give up on it, you stay perseverant towards it, you stay focused on what it is you want, you get there.
What holds people back from becoming really clear about what they want, John?
I would say that the number one thing that clouds the clarity of a vision is the injected injunctions and values and expectations of other people that you're comparing yourself to. So in other words, if you have a vision doing something and you start to talk to people, oh no, you ought to do this and you should do that and do this. If you value them and you think they're more successful than you or more intelligent than you or whatever, it'll make you question what you had started with. And that may be useful, but you don't necessarily want to stop your vision over it because they may have a different set of values and they don't want to do it. No, that's a silly idea. And nobody gets up in the morning and dedicates their life to your vision. It's got to be you. And if you're not doing it, nobody else is. It's not likely to occur.
So how can you cut out all of that noise and stop comparing yourself to others? What is the actual process to get into a quiet space and just to cut everything out and just to focus on what you want? What are the important steps? Because it can be challenging for people to, get away from the noise and the clutter and the fears and insecurities in their mind.
Well, if you fill your day with the highest priority actions that you can conceive of that can move you one step closer towards your objective, it's easier to say no to other people that are trying to vie for attention and trying to be opportunists and try to give you different opinions. And if you also select the highest priority people to associate with that are highest in line with what your values are, you have a higher probability of achieving it. I had a young boy the other day that wants to start a pizza company. And he has somebody in his family, his grandfather had a pizza company for 42 years. I said, did you go and mentor under him? Did you go and learn from him? Did you go find out what worked and what didn't work, even though it was in a different era? Did you go and talk to him? He says, no. I said, go and talk to him. And then let's go and find out who has the most successful pizza companies in the world, and let's go find out what they did. Let's go read their biographies and studies, and let's go and not reinvent a wheel. Hindsight and learning through trial and error is less efficient than foresight, planning and mentoring and getting direction. So select the people that you want ideas from, not just let everybody come in and just throw the ideas around. And make sure that that's really in line with what you value. Because if you try to go and try to compete with somebody else that's got a different set of values, you're going to be confusing yourself and clouding yourself.
Sure.
So start with what you know and let what you know grow. That's what I tell people.
How important it is, do you think, for people to really understand how the brain works? What role neuroplasticity, or understanding of that, can play in manifesting what you want in terms of the behavior that's needed to achieve it?
The brain is it's our most important. I mean, out of everything we've ever discovered in the universe, that's the most important, most amazing structure ever found. And it's part of us. I mean, it's our vehicle of expressing our genius. So the more we know about the brain and the more we apply the principles that have been discerned from the application of that study about how the brain works and how to maximize its potential, is to our advantage. Yeah. So I don't know if you need to be a neuroanatomist necessarily, but by knowing the functions of the brain and how to use that function. For instance, a young boy who loves his video games, the second he conquers a video game, he's going to go and want to tackle a more advanced game, a more challenging game. That's because the brain automatically, when it achieves something, it expands its vision of what's possible. It's natural. It's just like in nature. We do that. And it wants to go to a next level. It wants to evolve. And so when we apply the principles of the brain, we automatically want to evolve, and we end up doing the things that give us an evolutionary process, an expansion, and a greater capacity. So innovation, creativity, and genius is tackling challenges that inspire us and pursuing those. That's why filling our day with things that are meaningful, that are inspiring, that are challenging, is one of the greatest ways to creativity and genius awakening. And I think we all have that doing. And I think we can get what we want. That's the science of getting what we want. Pursuing things in a methodical, consistent, inspired way with a clear vision of an outcome that you know in your heart is truly something you desire to do.
Sure. John, how important is it to push boundaries to get what you want, your own personal limitations? Staying with the study of the brain in particular, in terms of rewiring ourselves, to develop a habit of pushing boundaries, because sometimes we are wired in a certain way that can hold us back.
Well, the brain is neuroplastic and is constantly remodeling itself. And if we're not pushing boundaries, it becomes just a stagnant, you might say a reflexive system, stimulus response. It's going outside that and going into new boundaries that allow us to find out what we're capable of doing. You know, I had a friend of mine who's in Ireland, who I'm going to Ireland in a few weeks, and I believe I'll see him there. He's climbed Mount Everest 4 times. He climbed the 7 peaks, the top peaks of the world, twice each. He's hiked to the North and South Pole. I mean, by himself, North and South Pole.
Okay, that's really pushing boundaries.
And he swam the Amazon, the whole Amazon. Okay? Now, this guy gets up in the morning and he asks, what is my greatest fear and how do I conquer it today? So that's pushing a boundary beyond what's most people. He's an adventurist, and he pushes boundaries. That's his business, and helping other people, CEOs and companies and everybody else, to push boundaries and get beyond their comfort zones. So if you're filling your day with high priority actions that inspire you, you have more resiliency, more adaptability, and you're more capable of going after things like that. And that's our nature, to want to go and tackle things. Nobody wants to sit stagnant. The other day I was working with he's a 14-year-old boy now, and he basically created a movie, a little documentary. And it's only about 13 minutes, but it was a 13-minute documentary that was really quite fun. It was just a nice film. The second he finished it and he showed it at the premiere, that night, all he could do is outline the plan of the next one. And he wanted to work on it. He stayed up till really late, and he just wanted to work on it. We have a natural tendency to want to go to the next level. It's innate within us. Whenever we're authentic and whenever we're achieving something, we want to go to the next level. It's part of our nature.
Very inspiring. I'm really looking forward to your discussion on the 5th of June. I'm going to be there because you're in your full element whenever you have these discussions. So there's so much I get out of the interview, but there's so much more I get just by attending your discussion. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.